What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Well, after all the talk online around Xbox and their first-party games going to other platforms, we had some more information as to other games that could be going, as well as a response from Phil Spencer himself. So we're going to go over all of that here today. Also, we are going to be taking a look at a number of big-time sales that are live right now for the Switch. Some, though, will be expiring here in just a couple of days, so I thought we'd run through a bunch of them. And then we're also going to be talking about Suicide Squad, because we have our first indication as to how it's sold in the UK, and it might surprise some people. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure to hit that like button, helps out a ton. And if new here to the Spawn Wave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And we're going to start today with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is a highly anticipated game, obviously. And we do have a State of Play coming up later on tonight, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be airing, and sounds like we're going to get a bunch of new information there, as well as the demo that we're all pretty much expecting. In fact, the trailer went live by accident, seemingly a bit early yesterday, and we can see this posted up by Wario64, who says the PSN confirms that a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth demo is coming tomorrow, which it says out now, so it should be out following, I assume, the presentation, allowing you to step into the shoes of either Cloud or Sephiroth during the Nibelheim episode. Interesting. I mean, that's curious how they're handled the incident there, just in general for this game. But being able to control Cloud or Sephiroth during the demo, and apparently your save data transfers over based on, again, some of the database entries we've been told on the PlayStation Store. This is going to be a lot of fun. So I'm excited for that demo to drop later on tonight, and definitely want to tune in for that State of Play because it sounds like they'll have some pretty good stuff to share there. Also, we did get a release window for the new Rugrats game. This is the game that was announced that would also have apparently an original Nintendo edition for it, but we can see this is posted up with a trailer. This is over on VG Charts, who says the publisher Limited Run Games, developers The Mix Games, and Wallride announced Rugrats Adventures in Gameland will launch PS5, Xbox Series, Switch, PS4, Xbox One, PC through Steam in March. So we don't have an exact release date. We just know it's coming out next month. And a demo. It's going to be live, available as part of the Steam Next Fest during February, so it is ongoing now, which we'll get to here in a second. But the idea of them releasing like an original NES version is pretty cool. Visually, it'll be pared back a bit, obviously, to work on the 8-bit system. But this looks like just a blast from the past, some nostalgia here with this new Rugrats game. But again, there is a demo that apparently will be available this month for this the Steam Fest that's going on right now. So really cool stuff there. And we'll just keep an eye out to see when exactly it'll be on sale. Still waiting for that exact release date, but coming up in March. Oh, and as we just talked about, the Steam Next Fest, what this is a whole string of demos from smaller studios that just have them available right now on Steam. In fact, they have over 1,000 of them. And if you go to the page that I've linked down below in the sources, you can legitimately just go through and just start downloading them. And I was scrolling for quite a while, and there are some pretty interesting looking games in here. One in particular that I wrote down, I feel like I've been seeing ads for this game too, is Eden Genesis. So there's a lot of stuff you can kind of discover as you scroll through the list that they have here, but pretty cool just to see a bunch of demos thrown out there for, again, lesser known studios or games. Might be a way maybe to get out in front of some people and have them just try the game out, and maybe they'll get a kick out of it and put it on their wish list. But definitely check out the Next Fest that's going on right now on Steam to see if anything catches your eye. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with the entire situation circling around Microsoft and Xbox, as really ever since the weekend, things have just exploded online around the idea of some of these big-time first-party exclusive games from the Xbox being pushed out onto PlayStation, maybe Nintendo's next system. Like Starfield is a big one we discussed yesterday, but it does seem like the more and more information we're getting, the more and more it seems like nothing is off the table. In fact, the most recent title that's been brought up is Gears of War, which, that would be something to see next to the PlayStation logo, but this is according to Jeff Grubb, and we can see this transcribed over on VGC. This is taken from his Jeff Grubb's Game Mess podcast that he does, saying the other one that I've heard that's definitely under consideration, doesn't mean that's going to happen, but it's in talks, is Gears of War. Again, doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it's in talks, and I feel like that's just kind of where they are within Microsoft right now, is everything is in talks, and yet even Halo, and I know Halo comes up as, no, that's Xbox, you can't do it. Well, technically Halo Infinite, as a free-to-play game that is heavily reliant on just having a number of people playing at any given time, the more places you could put it, the better. And you look at PlayStation, their overall options for multiplayer games is heavily reliant on a lot of the free-to-play stuff, like a Fortnite, like an Apex Legends. So yeah, Halo would probably see a very, very big spike in players if it moved over to PlayStation. Just throwing it out there as these are the things being discussed within Microsoft right now. And there's many parts to this. One that kind of has caught my eye on many of these reports I've gone through is it appears like there might just be some disagreement within Microsoft as to how this whole gaming initiative is being handled. Like, this is posted up over on Forbes, just one of the examples I'm mentioning here. Was from Paul Tassi. He says it seems to have leaked out because there is some sort of internal strife within Xbox about this plan, and there are cases for and against. And again, this is something that seems to be coming up multiple different places talking about this information. And it just really comes down to Microsoft trying to seek out different ways to make more revenue after a $70 billion acquisition. The idea of them moving these games to other platforms for more of the short-term gain really just says, hey, we're not making the money we want to, whether it's Game Pass has flattened a bit more than we were thinking, which also in turn has made it so people aren't buying as many games, just compounds to the point of the revenue, the numbers are just not adding up to what we need them to. But it appears that Microsoft, Xbox, has indeed heard everyone, because Phil Spencer made a statement. This over on his official Twitter account saying, "We're listening and we hear you. We've been planning a business update event for next week where we look forward to sharing more details with you about our vision for the future of Xbox. Stay tuned." So, to my understanding, this was indeed going to happen at basically the end of February, but it's been moved up. So, it seems like the reaction online has kind of caused this to maybe accelerate a bit in terms of their plans for the presentation. By the way, at the time of this recording, this message has received 7.2 million views. That's in like 4 or 5 hours or something. So yeah, again, a lot of discussion around Xbox and really their place in gaming at this time. And it's interesting that it's a business update event for next week, not really painting it as, hey guys, big Xbox game showcase happening. A business event? That doesn't sound like good news necessarily. And the way I would look at this, all right, so again, a bunch of questions, one being the exclusives. Okay, which games are going to remain as Xbox, Game Pass, PC exclusive? Are they going to be timed exclusives? Are they going to be day one on other platforms along with it, whether it's PlayStation or Nintendo with the Switch or their next system? The other thing, though, I think it's very important to think about is Game Pass itself. Because it's been mentioned before that it's flattened on Xbox, and I do wonder if that accelerated PC growth has also flattened a bit. Do they have to pivot a bit on what they've promised in the past for full day one releases? Like, okay, Call of Duty comes out 2 years from now, it's on Game Pass, but maybe it's not. That's something that's been kind of floated around right now, is maybe their plans for Game Pass, whether it's the tiers they have set up or just the overall idea that these games would always be there day one first party wise, won't be the case. So a lot of things that Microsoft needs to clear up here, and it's technically sooner than they were anticipating, right? It being next week. It's still a week for people to kind of stew on online, and it hasn't been going great. So here's hoping Microsoft has some good news to show up with next week. But based on the message Phil Spencer put out here, doesn't seem overly enthusiastic about it and saying just a business event. I don't know. It doesn't sound too exciting from the gaming perspective. But hey, we'll see what they have for us next week at some point. Hopefully it's before the Nintendo Direct. Next up, let's talk about a big sale that is going on right now for the Switch, and really it's a series of sales from different companies. Some will be running up as of tomorrow, so I wanted to bring them to your attention now just in case you wanted to save some money on any of these titles. Some are actually pretty good. I've seen a few that are like 60, 70, 80% off with, again, some good overall quality games here, but I made a list. We'll also scroll just on it kind of through the sales and deals page that Nintendo has set up over over on their website. Starting at the top with Red Dead Redemption, that is 30% off. We do have some first-party games in here, which does include Animal Crossing New Horizons, 30% off. Zelda Skyward Sword, 30% off. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, 33% off. We do have Persona 5 Tactica, 30% off. Sea of Stars, awesome title there at 20% off. New Pokemon Snap, 30% off. Batten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD, 30% off. Return to Monkey Island, that one is 40% off. Hotline Miami Collection, I like to put these collections out there when it comes to sales, since you can get a ton of value there. That one's 70% off. Tomb Raider 1 and 3 Collection, it's not out yet. I tend to tell people, hey, hang out a bit and see how this turns out. It is 10% off, though, currently, so I don't know, if you're already sold on it because it's Tomb Raider, you might want to check it out there. Star Wars Force Unleashed is 50% off. Doom Eternal, 75% off. Quake 2, awesome game there, by the way, 60% off. Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, 83% off. I mean, come on. If you're just curious about Dragon's Dogma, I think it's like $4 and some odd cents. That might be worth picking up. Mega Man Battle Network Collection is half off, 50% off. Ghost Trick, 33% off. Monster Hunter Rise, 60% off. Monster Hunter Stories 2, 50% off. Final Fantasy X and X-2 is 60% off, along with Final Fantasy VIII, also 60% off. Then we have Crisis Core Reunion, great title there, 40% off. And there are still a bunch of other games that are on sale, so definitely look through them and leave some suggestions down below in the comments. But keep in mind, many of these games will go back to full price as of tomorrow, so definitely check these out over on Nintendo's site. Next up, let's talk about Final Fantasy XIV, as it is heading to the Xbox platform later on this month. Actually, February 21st, it'll be live. There will be a free trial that will allow you to play quite a bit of the game. I think up to like level 70. There's multiple expansions as part of it, which is awesome, right? You can just try it out and decide right then and there after probably like 10, 20, 30 hours if it's for you or not. And then you can sign up and go from there. But there's just one issue that people have noticed here with the Xbox version in particular. We can see this post up. This is over on IGN, who noticed this excerpt from their blog post that they put out over on Xbox's website, where it says the free trial version, including the open beta test, will not require Xbox Game Pass Core or Ultimate. This is very important, by the way. Xbox Game Pass Core, of course, is basically the replacement for Xbox Live Gold. You will not need that to play the free trial version. However, the full Xbox Series X and S version will require an Xbox Game Pass Core or Ultimate plan to play, basically saying, hey, you have to pay at minimum $60 per year to then also pay the subscription service for Final Fantasy XIV on top of that. The reason this is so strange is because Xbox is the only platform where you will have to do that. On Sony, the PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4, you don't need to pay PlayStation Plus to then play Final Fantasy XIV. So that's basically just waived, and you just pay the subscription service. It's kind of viewed as any of the free-to-play games, right? Even though technically it's not, but that's sort of a deal, I guess, that Sony had worked out. And obviously on PC, it's an open platform. You don't deal with any of that. The thing that's really strange to me about this, though, is this isn't the first time we've seen a Final Fantasy MMORPG on the Xbox. Going back to 2006, 2007, somewhere in there, Final Fantasy XI came to the Xbox 360, and you did not need Xbox Live Gold for that. They waived that for Final Fantasy XI. You had to still pay the subscription for Final Fantasy XI, but it's odd because Microsoft had figured that out, or at least had the foresight to figure that out, and not here, though. So to me, I looked at this, it felt kind of like a mistake. Maybe Microsoft worked that out. I'm not sure, because it seems strange that while you do have that free trial that is quite a bit of value, to then say, okay, now you got to do Xbox Live or Xbox Game Pass Core, and then you can do your subscription, just seems out of place compared to the other version. So hopefully that's something that they can work out, as the game is technically not out for another 2 weeks or so. And I guess we'll see if they're able to figure that one out heading into launch. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about some of the early indication around sales numbers for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which has gotten absolutely destroyed online, whether it's review scores or just general consensus from gamers. Well, we can see this posted up over on Push Square with the top 10 from the UK for the week that it launched. And we can see Suicide Squad killed the Justice League at the top. It was number 1. Then we have Persona 3 Reload at number 2, Tekken 8 at 3, Super Mario Bros. Wonder at 4, then Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, of course, EA Sports FC 24, Hogwarts Legacy, Mortal Kombat 1, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, and then Grand Theft Auto 5, sure. But Christopher Dring does say that Suicide Squad was the number 1 physical game. It's very important to note this does not count any digital sales. The physical launch was slightly behind Tekken 8, but ahead of Last of Us 2 Remastered. Okay, interesting. As they say, a point of comparison, did about half of Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'm sure people are looking at this kind of confused, like, wait, Suicide Squad sold well out of the gate? Yeah, this is sort of the case of, I feel like, the namesake really carrying the game, and I wouldn't be shocked if just in the next week or two, it just plummets down the sales charts. But again, people might just be walking into the store and, oh, okay, I like the Suicide Squad movie, I'll check out the game. And that's kinda, I feel like, WB's hope really with this one, pushing it out there, because again, it just hasn't been well received for the most part with critics. Some gave it a good review, some are enjoying it, but I would say the overwhelming majority are just not really getting a kick out of this game at all. So I'll check it out eventually. It's just there are some high quality games right now that I'm playing with Persona 3 Reload, and then Like a Dragon Infinite Well, some awesome titles there. But someday I'll get the Suicide Squad. Maybe it's dropped down in price. That's one that I kind of feel like is going to get discounted maybe faster than people expect. So we'll see as we go forward, but at least for now, it's off to a fast start at the top of the UK sales chart. And before we go to the comment of the day, we're taking a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I ask, what is the primary reason you buy a specific video game console? Of course, I put this poll up because of all the discussion around what's going on right now with Xbox. But you could see, clear and away, the number 1 vote getter was indeed exclusive games, 71%. 12% saying the ecosystem and the digital library, the services. I was thinking, okay, Game Pass or games you've just built up throughout that PS4, Xbox One generation into now. Then we have ease of use, form factor, where my friends are playing, which I think, as someone mentioned in the comments, is important, especially for the younger audience who's more about Roblox, Fortnite, Minecraft, that sort of thing, and then controller layout. Really, I just grabbed a bunch of things people were throwing around online and just saw, hey, what is it that people really buy into a console for? And surprise, surprise, exclusive games. So I think that's one of the big reasons people are just really unsure as to what Microsoft's doing right now, because once you start removing the number 1 vote getter, yeah, you're probably going to see your console sell even less. But is Microsoft okay with that? They might be. In their mind, it's like, well, we'll make more revenue and we'll still keep the Xbox console around at least for another generation. I think they still have at least one more in them. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Spencer, who says, it is sad that Xbox being third-party might eventually mean they leave the console market. I love my PS5, but Sony can be anti-consumer sometimes, and it worries me about that aspect if there is no Xbox. That's the other thing that people seem concerned about, is the fact that we would have lessening of competition in a space that continues to get more and more expensive, and as you mentioned, less and less in favor of the consumer. We're talking about all the digital stuff that's happening, which just provides more control to the publishers and the manufacturers. But then you start to eliminate things that, look, there are reactions between Sony and Microsoft all the time based on what the other is doing. So if you remove one from that hardware space, the other one just does what they want. I know Nintendo's there, but we also understand Nintendo. They themselves have said, we're not really competing with Microsoft or Sony. They're kind of doing their thing. We're over here in the blue ocean strategy. So you really can't count on Nintendo to come through and push Sony or Microsoft a bit. That's my only concern, really. I mean, the games will exist. They'll be, I assume at this point, pretty much everywhere, if that is the path Microsoft goes down. But with one less competitor in the market, if we ever get there, I just don't think that would be good for gaming in general. But let's get to next week and let's see what Phil Spencer and the Xbox division has to say. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. Where's the situation currently revolving around Microsoft and Xbox with these exclusive games, and Phil Spencer's response? What do you think they're gonna have to say next week to explain all of this. And then also, what about the big Switch sales going on right now with some suggestions? And Final Fantasy XIV on the Xbox. Yes, Game Pass Core seemingly is required, but is this something you might be trying out for the first time with that free trial? Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.